mural that was painted on 7th Street, just south of the I-10 by Juarez Tacos, I think is the restaurant. Tacos de Juarez, thank you, Anita Ritter. Anita Ritter, you know Anita Ritter? She is from Tolleson, yes. And I would like to ask David Murrieta to stand up so you can meet him and see him. He's also, I believe, from Tolleson, if I'm not mistaken. He's the artist. He's the artist who painted this. David Murrieta pintó el mural de donde sacamos este volante, donde anunciamos una plataforma de Facebook, de YouTube. Tenemos un programa de radio los martes en español, los jueves en inglés. Y educación es la parte principal que caracteriza nuestro trabajo para servir a la comunidad latina por parte de AARP. Por favor, llévense este volantito porque ahí está la estación de radio donde salimos y también los días en Facebook. Les vamos a agradecer muchísimo a todo el que está en Facebook que por favor nos siga porque estamos trayendo temas muy importantes, seguro social, Medicare, preparándonos para la jubilación, salud, ¿qué más? Caregivers o prestación de cuidados a un ser querido. So after we launched the platform, you know what we did? We decided to add a little bit more. And you know what that was? Lunch and Learns. So we went to Post 41, had several. We went to Scottsdale and had another one. So we're moving them now. East Valley, West Valley, East Valley, West Valley. And then in the end of the year, Q4, quarter 4, it's going to go back to Post 41. We cannot move away from Post 41. It's very, very special post composed of nothing but Mexican-American veterans who went to fight for freedom, and when they came back, that same freedom was being denied to them. So that galvanized them into action to form Post 41. So again, and we also do painting events. We might bring a painting event to, do you do that here in Tolleson? Okay, we can partner at least. So bottom line, we're trying to bring lots of education. One of the big things that AARP does is educate. And then Alex referenced advocate. So we educate, we advocate, and we give discounts. You like discounts? So that's the membership. But even if you're not a member, you can still take advantage of everything that we do for you. I'm here. I'm Santiago Cornejo. Thank you so much. I've been here to speak on Social Security and Medicare. I'm gonna come back. And you and I maybe can review some of the content that our speakers are going to present in Spanish, because some of you might not, know every single word, but you'll get it. So thank you again. It's a privilege and an honor. Well, did I say something about the event Tardeada Latina? Yeah, I came. I think it was 2015 to what was the lady that used to handle the events? Ruth. I said, Ruth Espinosa, AARP would like to do an event for Tolleson, so we call it Tardeada Latina. This is 2015. We brought Tierra. Remember the group Tierra? Some of you know that group Tierra. We brought that group, and I think it's still going on, the Tardeada Latina. And anyway, my kids graduated from Tolleson. Actually, my daughter is here that graduated from Tolleson, right there. And then my son. And then some of you might know Isaac Parra. Isaac Parra was a star in baseball here in Tolleson. Anyway, too much, but then I have to leave some space for them. Thank you so very much. We hope you enjoyed the event, the food, the messaging, and that you can follow us on Facebook, and we continue to come together for education, for food, and for fun events. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Alex and David. It's always hard to follow David. He's so animated. I'm far from that at the mic. But we wanted to thank AARP again for coming out, to sponsoring the lunch and just, helping us put this event together to be able to provide this opportunity, for our council members to share a little bit of our history. We are celebrating, the city of Tolleson is celebrating 90 years. 90 years ago, the city of Tolleson was incorporated on March 29th. So it is something that we'll be celebrating throughout the year. As the city celebrates 90 years of incorporation, it's only fitting that today's presentation focuses around the monumental case that would change the future of Tolleson and that of the entire state of Arizona. And who better to share this story than council members Linda Laborin and Clorinda Erives, as their families were present during that time. Council member Linda Laborin was elected to the Tolleson City Council in 2001. As a council member, she participates in the decision-making process on issues facing Tolleson's residents and the community as a whole. During her tenure, she's been involved in several initiatives, including the 91st Avenue project, the recycling program for the city, and the construction of the LEED certified fire station and the police and court center. Councilmember Laborin is a member of the National League of Cities and has earned the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum certificates for her completion of the National League of Cities Training Institutes. She was a participant in the first Tolleson Citizen Police Academy class. She also attended Arizona State University. She was a member of the Tolleson Women's Club and served on the board of the Southwest Lending Closet. She was also re-elected as the president of the Senior Center in 2016 and takes part in the Emergency Identity Program for seniors. Councilmember Laborin served 3 years as vice mayor, is a member of the Hispanic Elected Latino Officials, National Association of Latino Elected Officials, and Women in Municipal Government. In addition, she has been a member of the U.S. Green Building Council and has served as the secretary of Toastmasters International 6301. Councilmember Linda Laborin worked for the Tolleson Elementary Schools for 20 years. She held numerous leadership and committee positions with the Tolleson Education Association. In addition, she served on the District Advisory Council for Paraprofessionals and was active in the Salvation Army Food Drive. Councilmember Laborin is a Tolleson native and is the mother of 5 children. Her children all attended Tolleson Union High School Wolverines. She has 15 grandchildren and 18 great-grandchildren. Help me in welcoming Councilmember Linda Laborin. I'll also take a second just to introduce our other guest speaker before they both join us here at the podium. Our second speaker today is Councilmember Clorinda Erives. Councilmember Erives was elected in 2009 to the Tolleson City Council, where she strives to be a voice for the community to preserve and enhance the residents' quality of life. As a City of Tolleson council member, she works as a team with other council members to provide guidance for Tolleson's strategic plan for sustainability and growth. Councilmember Erives has been a public school educator since 1995. She is a first grade teacher at ASU Preparatory. She served on the Tolleson Elementary School District Board number 17 and is president of the Tolleson Women's Club, which they're celebrating 85 years this year as well. She has earned the silver designation through the National League of Cities Leadership Institute. Councilmember Erives is a 4th generation Tolleson native and is currently serving her 3rd term. Her goal since she was in 5th grade was to serve the community of Tolleson as a member of government. She is married to Octavio, and together they have 2 daughters who have also graduated from Tolleson. From the Tolleson School District, and they're also Wolverines. I want to take a second to say, just if everyone in the room, if you're a Tolleson native, could you raise your hand? This is awesome. The roots that are established here in Tolleson are amazing. But help me in welcoming Councilmember Clorinda Erives. I'll ask them both to join us at the podium as they start to share the story with you regarding the desegregation case that took place in Tolleson that led to the equal rights of all students receiving equal education in Tolleson and throughout the entire state of Arizona.
Good afternoon. Beautiful day outside. No, that's okay. When I was asked to share my recollection of the series of events that led to the victory in the District Court of the United States, District of Arizona, which was conferred on the 26th day of March in 1951, when the courts ordered the immediate desegregation of Tolleson schools, I thought of the article written by Lisa Irish, July of 2018, How Desegregation Changed the Tolleson Elementary School District, which I will share with you today. A sign stands in front of the public school on West Garfield Street in Tolleson, Porfirio H. Gonzalez Elementary School. It's been 2 generations since Porfirio Gonzalez and a group of Latino parents successfully sued the Tolleson Elementary School District Governing Board with the donated services of Ralph Estrada, Greg Garcia, and Al Warren, with the intent of having the policy of segregation struck down by the courts. The ruling in Gonzalez versus Shilley preceded the historic Brown versus Board of Education decision by the U.S. Supreme Court by 3 years. In Gonzalez versus Shilley, U.S. District Judge David Ling ruled that segregating public school children of Mexican descent or extraction is discriminatory, illegal, and in violation of their constitutional rights, which meant Tolleson schools had to integrate.
Good afternoon. Prior to Gonzalez's case, according to a student who 70 years ago attended what is known as the district's Mexican school, which led the lawsuit, the district opened its second school, white school, and a few Latinos who were deemed highly proficient in English went to the new school. But most of the Latino students remained at the first school. The Mexican school, a former prison of war army barracks, was built of wood, had no library, and the classrooms were pretty bare, with a few shelves or little learning material. And while students did not learn art or music, they did see a movie once in a while, but only if you paid the 25 cents to view it. On the north side of the building, horse troughs served as drinking fountains. The school had 3 or 4 trees on the south and on the east side of the buildings. And the area between the 2 school buildings was used by students for playing foursquare and jacks. The athletic field was north of the buildings, and a small backstop, later some dirt, basketball courts were added along 93rd Avenue. The new school on the south side was totally different. Red brick building with large classrooms, a gymnasium with a stage for school plays, and a room filled with musical instruments. The athletic field had a good grass and softball field with lights.
Gonzalez and other community members pursued the legal remedy after pleas to the school board. District Superintendent Kenneth Dyer and Arizona Senator Carl Hayden to end segregation of their children and unequal access to learning resulted in no changes in policy. It is said that Superintendent Dyer told Juan Johnny Camacho, 17 years old, the young man who took the community's case to the district, that students at the Mexican school did not know the language well enough to be in classrooms with white students, and that he would not lower the standards. In 1949, the area was rural and home to many ranches and farms. Many of the Latinos in the area were hired to pick crops or did other farming and ranch work. Parents and community members tried to get school board members, Ross L. Shilley, James W. Johnston, and Frank E. Babcock, the superintendent, and Arizona Senator Carl Hayden, to help them desegregate the schools, but they received no support. Upon learning that her son's pleas for equality was dismissed by the school superintendent, Ms. Maria Camacho, mother to Johnny, along with my mother, Patsy Murrieta, Lupe Favela, and Angelita Fuentes organized this coalition of mothers. Part of this coalition was founded from the church group, the Guadalupanas. My mother was very involved in the church, helping with everything from bake sales to festivals to you name it. She was there and so were we. The coalition would confront the same superintendent, only to be shunned as mere women. Undeterred, they immediately expanded their coalition to include their husbands, pushing men like Mr. Gonzalez, Faustino Curiel, Isabel Favela, Trinidad Guillen Jr., Joe Gonzalez, Manuel Piña Sr., and Manuel Piña Jr. to the forefront in hopes that the school board would offer this stance some semblance of respect. I recall late night meetings where my two sisters and I would fall asleep at our mother's, Patsy Murrieta's, feet on the floor, listening to conversations taking place around this movement. These meetings consisted of pan dulce and coffee. Everyone would bring food. The meetings would take place in different homes. I enjoyed following my mother around, and I thought we were just getting together for pláticas. Little did I know that these meetings would change the educational world as we knew it. My first recollection of my school was the big, then it was brown, building on Van Buren. Then they painted it white, the big stucco building there, where we played around the building and on the swings.
Gonzalez versus Sheely, which was filed in 1949, was historic. The U.S. District Court of Arizona ruled in favor of the plaintiffs in 1951, requiring that all students in the Tolleson district attend classes together and learn from the similar curriculum. Before the decision, Latinos and white students received instruction in separate schools and under very different and unequal conditions. The decision in Gonzalez versus Sheely came just 4 years after a judge in a California case. Westminster School District of Orange County versus Mendez ruled similarly. In the Mendez opinion, U.S. Circuit Judge Albert Lee Stevens, Sr., he wrote this: by enforcing the segregation of school children of Mexican descent against their will and contrary to the laws of California, respondents have violated the federal law as provided in the 14th Amendment to the federal Constitution by depriving them of liberty and property without due process of law, and by denying them the equal protection of the laws. Both cases laid the groundwork for the landmark in 1954 U.S. Supreme Court decision of Brown versus the Board of Education, which overturned Plessis versus Ferguson's separate but equal. This doctrine was determined that the public schools segregated by race are not equal and they are not protected under the law. As Justice Earl Warren wrote in the court's majority opinion, in these days it is doubtful that any child may be reasonably be expected to succeed in life if he is denied the opportunity of an education. Such an opportunity where the state has undertaken to provide it's a right which must be available to all on equal terms. Unbeknownst to these astonishing women that were our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, their contributions not only guaranteed equality of formal education to generations of students, but would inspire generations of future public servants like myself. My own, as they had mentioned in our bio, I teach first grade. And so the journey to become a first grade teacher is from hearing stories like this. Amen. How could you ever tell a child, you're over here while the others are here? When you grow up in Tolleson and you hear this story, and it has such deep roots We know this story because it lives in our heart. You drive by the barracks, they're still there. That building is still there. You still see the playground where kids played, where we all attended school. It's still there. So how could this story not be important to us and make us do something different? You go and you serve. You serve your community, whichever capacity. I chose public education. I went to school, I got a degree, and I said, it's still not enough. I need to know more. How can we still help more people? What do we need to do? Bilingual education is what I thought, where we learn 2 languages simultaneously. But why not 3 languages? Why are we not preparing our children for 3, 4 languages? They need to compete on this next level with the global economy. So you go back to school, you learn, and you serve your community. You bring those opportunities to the children in our community. You bring those role models to show them, to see what we have and where they can go. Unlimited possibilities. But if these ladies, and my grandmother's included in this, Cruz Gonzalez, her name's on the placard. Those ladies started this journey prior to, as a teacher, I know Brown versus the Board of Education. It's in our school books. They teach it to us as teachers. But our story is even before that ruling. Our story in Tolleson is more historic because it has an earlier date than that decision, than the history books teach me as a teacher. How can you not want to serve your community that has such a rich history? Serving on school boards or church parish councils. Our community is filled with leaders because it started from these ladies who said we deserve more. Our children deserve more. Our community deserves more. You might see on our logo and within the city where we're honoring our past and positioning our future. This story today is that very quote that we have within us. We are honoring these people who took a very difficult decision because they were pointed at, saying, oh, those kids are, the mom of that little boy, he's one of those that are signing those petitions. He's one of those that are going up against the norm. That kid right there, the kid that his name is Juan, but they changed his name to Johnny. Right? That kid, they point at them. So it was very difficult for these ladies and then families and gentlemen to get together to do this. This was not an easy thing to do. Not an easy thing to do. But they knew it was the right thing to do. And so they moved on. So as a councilwoman, how can you not want to be involved in your community? How do you not want to do more for the citizens of our community? We have such a beautiful community. It's easy to give. It's easy to give. So, that's it. I went to sorry.
Thank you. This entire movement led to providing all students a fair and equal education because of mothers like mine and many others in this community. I was able to start my education in the red brick building, which was red. Now they turned it down and it was white. This was the beginning that began to shape my trajectory that led me to be a council member today. I was working at the school over 20 years, and one of the former council members went into my classroom and said, we need new council members, we need new blood in there. Now they're saying the same thing. So she said, we have openings for people to run for city council. And I think it's a good idea for you to get in there. And I kept saying, no, I don't think so. I'm too busy. I've got kids. I still have kids at home. I don't think I'd be able to do it. And she said, try it. Go in, put your name down and see if you get any votes. I got everything I needed the first time I ran, the second time I ran, the third time I ran. 4th time, now I'm my 5th term. I'm on my 5th term. So she got me in there, and I stayed. I stuck like glue. And I don't know if I'm going to continue or if I'm going to start moving to the side, because everybody tells me they need new blood. I don't know if I'll let them though.
Today, our council focuses on providing our school financial support to ensure that our students continue to receive the best education possible. In the past years, the council has approved budgets which include $400,000 to fund preschool programs for 3- and 4-year-olds, $250,000 for before and after school programs. We'd like to share a short video showcasing some of this support.
Education has been a main focus for the city of Tolleson. As a small, close-knit community, we had leaders in the past that stepped up to the plate to make sure that segregation was no longer, that our community was equal in its value and equal in its education status. I became an elementary school teacher in the city of Tolleson because I had many mentors that guided me and influenced me to give back to my community. Education for me has always been a passion and will continue to be. The city of Tolleson stands strong and partners with all educational schools in the city of Tolleson. Now, let's hear from Dr. Lupita Hightower.
The support that Tolleson Elementary School District receives from the city of Tolleson and its council is tremendous. We feel so fortunate to belong to a city that truly puts education first. With the funding that was allocated to our district, we were able to provide high-quality after-school programs to hundreds of students.
What I loved about the after-school program was the cooking, and we got to make pasta, and I also got to make new friends.
I liked after school because we get to draw cool stuff like Minecraft and Roblox.
We play sports like basketball, dodgeball, and hockey. And I love the slide that we make at the after-school program.
As a parent, what I enjoy most about the after-school program is that I can finish my work day without having to worry about who's going to pick up my children from after school. I know exactly where they can be found, and I know that they're being well taken care of from the staff of the after-school program.
Porfirio H. Gonzalez and Arizona Desert, we both lost our grant funding through the 21st Century Federal Grant. And the city stepped in and they said we got to continue to provide programs for the students, and they gave us some significant funding to continue to offer the program at both of our sites. And we are so grateful for that funding because it's a safe place for our kids after school to go where they can explore opportunities that they probably wouldn't get otherwise. So we have sports activities, we have lots of different arts and crafts, we have different music classes for the kids, we have a reptile club where they bring in different animals, and the kids get to explore different opportunities in a safe environment so that parents also know my kids are safe at school, and we really appreciate it.
As a council, we have made it our mission to provide an inclusive, healthy, safe, and affordable place to live, work, play, and raise a family. Thank you today. Thank you for today.
Let's please give him another round of applause. Both Councilmember Erives and Councilwoman Laborin did a fabulous job. I didn't introduce myself. I'm going to introduce myself now. Most of you, I think, already know me here, but I'm Pilar Sanawi. I'm the Chief Government Affairs Officer for the City of Tolleson. And I can say that I'm very blessed to work alongside these women and the other leaders of our organization. Tolleson is truly a gem. I know the superintendent, Nora Gutierrez, was here. She might have stepped out. But Tolleson is that. There's so much rich history here, and there are a tremendous amount of leaders within this community that it's inspiring. It's inspiring for the residents of the community, the youth, and even for someone like myself that's not from Tolleson, but just getting the opportunity to work and serve your community is a blessing. And I know that all of our staff here appreciates the opportunity and are grateful to have the opportunity to serve this community. So thank you again to Alex, David, and AARP for working with us to have this opportunity to share this story with you today. Thank you. I forgot they told me kick it back to David.
You know, when I started doing the work for AARP back in 2011, I started by traveling to San Luis, Somerton, Yuma, Douglas, Nogales, Tucson, Phoenix. And one of the things that led me to establish the platform of AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection was to tell the stories, the amazing stories of the Mexican-American community that is not being told. I actually believe that there should be a museum in Arizona that tells the story. I don't know if you know, but in Washington, D.C., the African-American community now has a museum. So if you ever go to D.C., I just was there, not in the museum, but in D.C., and I saw the building, but I was talking to some people, says it takes a few days, maybe 2 or 3 to make the tour. Lots of history. So the radio shows and the Facebook page has that characteristic of telling the story, the post-41 story, the GI Bill recipients, the mineros, the braceros, the construction workers, the college educated, the professionals, just a lot. I mean, Tio Tachillas, you know Tio Tachillas?
Yeah, Tio.
So much history, right, Tio? And there, Frank Barrios wrote a book, Mexicans in Phoenix. Dr. Santos Vega's Mexicans in Tempe. Another book has been written in Scottsdale, about Scottsdale. I believe there's a book written about Tolleson, I think Glendale. Dr. Pete Dimas, anybody? Mm-hmm. He's preparing a series of videos that I'm looking forward for that thing to be released, because he took me to he first went to my home because he wanted to show me those videos, and then he took me to his home to show me the progress. I can't wait for those videos to start. He goes all the way back to Spain and then brings in the history to the present. Unbelievable. So I really hope that I can play a part on behalf of AARP through the platform of AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection, the Tuesday shows in Spanish, the Thursday shows in English, and Facebook Lives that we plan to do more Facebook. We just did a video on water in Arizona with Frank Barrios. It's on our page. All the videos, we did one on entertainment. Remember, you went to that one, Anita. Entertainment, Calderons and all those things, the rich history of the post-41s, the Riverside, and the Bugarins, and the Orquesta de Chapito Chavarria. It's already on videos. So I really ask you, who has Facebook? Who does Facebook here? Raise your hand. Please follow our page and spread it, because that's where we announce radio shows. Tomorrow I'm gonna have Estela Pope Duarte. She's an author. She's written about La Llorona, Let the Spirits Dance, and her last book is on Raúl H. Izaguirre, Seated at the Table of Power. Look at that title. All that we're trying to do. Of course, events too, like carne asada events with the lunch and learns and painting events, but I've noticed that people who know their history, they are different. Do you agree? So we are going to tell the story and the history, and I'm so honored to work for AARP and have the job of serving the Latino community. I want to also say that I visited the mayor when this all started, because I wanted to propose having a lunch and learn. She invited me to her office, and we had a little conversation, and then connected me with Mario, and then with Pilar, and I just want to say, one thing is being professional, and they are, but then in addition to being professional, you are familia. And that's what I met with the Tolleson staff. Not only professionalism, but calor humano, right? So I just want to, on behalf of Alex and several volunteers from AARP, I see Maria Alvarado is a volunteer with AARP, Teresa, Anita, Letty, Andrea, and I hope I'm not missing anybody. We have volunteers from AARP. So thank you very much. We really hope you enjoyed it. Before I turn it over back to Pilar to say, unless she wants me to end it here, do you know if there are leftovers for seconds, anybody?
No, it's gone.
No, it's gone. All right. Did you like the tacos? Perfect. I'll be back. I will work with Santiago to come and meet with the group here that meets, I think, daily, so we can answer questions on Social Security and Medicare. On behalf of Tolleson and behalf of AARP, we hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of the day. This concludes our program.